MB Friends presents an introduction to the idealist temperament. Part 3. Idealists' Childhood, Adulthood, and Leadership.
Idealist children seem born with a high moral expectation of themselves, and want to be perfect, blameless, virtuous, perhaps even saintly, in their attitudes and actions towards others. And on those occasions when idealist children do in fact have bad intentions, or act in a devilish way, they feel guilty about it, as if they are the worst of criminals. Idealist children, even as young as 5, build their self-confidence on being authentic. Authenticity, of course, is not in any way visible, even though NF kids appears to have a sincerity and open-heartedness, perhaps an innocence, about them that sets them apart from the other types. But even more than being seen as authentic, idealist children want to be recognized as unique individuals. Not autonomous like the rationals, NF youngsters need their parents to recognize their uniqueness and to personally acknowledge their significance in order to feel they are a valuable family member in their own right. NF kids thrive on an abundance of personalized attention, and the messages they need most of those which say, "You're special, I value you, you're important to me." NF children are apt to be almost hypersensitive to the feelings of those closest to them, and when their family members are in harmony they feel at peace with themselves, just as when their parents or siblings are distressed they are distressed right along with them. Thus, in a loving and supportive family, self-esteem in the idealist child can grow early and fast owing to the strong empathic bonding they are free to maintain. On the other hand, in a dysfunctional and distantiated family, idealist children can run into serious problems. These children, especially if reserved, lack defenses against things the other types take in stride. For example, these children are devastated by conflict, and if reared in a home where the parents quarrel a good deal, they are apt to become withdrawn and insecure.
Even at an early age, idealist children seem to be fired with a passionate intensity, and are hardly able to keep quiet about their thoughts and feelings. Indeed, NFs are likely to begin to talk early, and expressive NFs may seem to their parents never to stop talking. Reserved NFs have these same strong feelings, but tend to be more shy about expressing them, and may have some difficulty communicating, especially outside the home. In either case, however, the highly enthusiastic nature of idealist children is clear, and forms the temperamental basis of their adults' actions and attitudes. Idealist children are the most trusting of all the types. They trust their impulses to a certain degree, at least their good impulses. Their negative impulses, to lie, to show spite, to retaliate, tend to frighten them and inhibit them. Idealist kids also trust authority to a great extent. And idealist children trust reason in some part, and will, like the rationals, ponder the sense of doing this instead of that, but they will give far more weight to what their heart tells them about their feelings, and the feelings of others. In short, idealist kids trust the voice of their intuition more than any of the other guides to action, and by adolescence their trust in intuition is deep-seated and heartfelt. Such intuitions come to them from who knows where, but they are sometimes uncanny, and always inexplicable. No matter, NF children know, though they don't know how they know. NF children seem to have a natural talent for relating intimately with others, or for what David Keirsey has called diplomatic empathy. Few parents, or relatives or even teachers, for that matter, are very skilled in diplomacy, so idealist children must usually learn on their own rather than by taking after a good role model. But in the degree that they do become fluent in the two diplomatic roles, the mentor and the advocate, idealist children develop a positive self-image, showing themselves to be artistic like the artisans, dependable like the guardians, or ingenious like the rationals. Enhances but little the self-esteem of the idealists. What they take pride in, and from a very early age, is their ability to maintain and enhance empathic relationships with their friends and loved ones. For their part, idealist children would like to think well of everyone and everything, and to give of themselves for the good of others. The altruism of NF children can be global in this way, but more often it focuses on their own communities, families, and friends. David Keirsey called idealist parents the harmonizers in their families, but idealist children also instinctively take up the very same role in all their social groups. Isabel Myers said of NFs that harmonious human relations are more important to them than anything else. And so parents should try to steer their little idealists towards stories that have happy endings, with heroes winning, and even villains having a change of heart in the end. Such happily ever after stories capture idealist kids from the very beginning and never let go of them, however much their hopes and dreams are defied by reality. Idealists have a precocious interest in finding some doctrine or philosophy of life to believe in. Many NFs become interested in religion, for example, when still quite young. Some even know as children that they want to enter the ministry or priesthood, and will train to be acolytes and altar boys and girls. Idealist teenagers will also investigate other belief systems, ethical, political, and artistic, and don't mind appearing seriously philosophical to their friends. But regardless of what system they embrace, nor for how long, NF children passionately seek out something to believe in. In school, they are apt to have the same experience as rational children, which is that they often find themselves out of step with their classmates. They feel the difference between themselves and others, without realizing what that difference is. After all, idealists are such a small minority that until they reach college they are unlikely to find more than one or two others like themselves.
In their role as parents, idealists seek to form close, harmonious relationships with their children. NF parents want to be intimately involved in their children's lives, and the growth of a positive self-image, and so make every effort to keep themselves in touch and rapport with their children, even into adult life. If artisans tend to be hands-off parents, idealists are literally hands-on. Hugs, pats, back rubs, head scratches, and other signs of physical affection are very dear to idealists, and make them the original touchy-feely parents. But even more important to them is mental and emotional bonding. Whoever is there and demanding time gets it, even though their loved ones may be waiting elsewhere. Idealists often have to learn how to detach themselves from their personal involvements away from home, to make sure they give their mates and families first importance in their lives. Idealist parents will talk with their children from a very early age, especially about their dreams and fantasies, and they will read to their children book after book of make-believe and fairy tale. In times of sadness, NFs often try to act as counselors for their children, or at very least, as patient, understanding listeners, always hoping to help their children feel good about themselves. The idealists' need for harmony in the family sometimes makes them take on the role of family diplomat or peacekeeper, wanting to make sure that all in the family are happy and fulfilled, that all emotional needs are being met, and that kindness prevails, an impossible and largely thankless task that can cause the NF a good deal of grief. Fortunately, the idealists' love for their children is boundless, and they will overcome every difficulty with renewed enthusiasm. Idealists almost never take the forefront as political or military leaders, Gandhi and Joan of Arc being the rare exceptions. Idealists make dynamic, enthusiastic leaders. But in other fields, Pope John XXIII convening the Ecumenical Council, Susan B. Anthony leading the fight for women's rights, Martin Luther leading the Protestant Reformation, Maria Montessori founding a network of schools for self-expressive children's education, and doubtless many more, the diplomatic intelligence of idealists, NFs, shows itself in their natural gift for working with people, whether as a mentor involved in personal development, or an advocate involved in personal mediation. Idealists are keenly aware of their diplomatic efforts, in whatever role they take, and of any success they achieve with personnel. Of all the types, NFs are the most sensitive to appreciation or lack of it on the part of their leaders. The slightest disapproval is devastating to them, so leaders are advised always to be encouraging and positive in conferring with these thin-skinned employees, gently focusing on method and results, and ever grateful for the progress shown. Idealists can draw out the best in people, and they are first and foremost people-oriented. When in charge of personnel, idealist leaders demonstrate an interest in personal development, and thus their focus is primarily on the potentialities of their staff. with the development of the institution being secondary. Idealists are natural democratic and participative leaders. Sometimes, however, idealist leaders find that their involvement with employees takes too high a toll on their time and energy, so that they have little left for themselves, because they are so responsive to others' priorities and, indeed, seek them out. NFs can allow other people's priorities to eat up much of their workday. They tend to be very generous with their time, even to the point of neglecting their own family or community obligations outside the organization, and of forgetting necessary, recreational time. They sorely need to schedule renewal time for themselves if they are not to have their energies drained to the point where they are emotionally exhausted.
With the proper balance of professional and private time, idealist leaders are enthusiastic spokesmen for their organization. They are forever looking for and reacting to the best, in their company,